Hey everyone, just a quick hello for our November newsletter. It's definitely starting to feel a little bit like late fall and winter, a little chilly here in the air. Hope you're enjoying things as best you can these days. But just this month, a couple quick reminders for us. One of them might sound like a silly thing, but in a lot of our appointments and trainings, we're finding that a lot of folks aren't quite doing this. So one of the best things we can recommend is make sure you turn off your computer sometimes. One of the things that makes a huge difference in terms of your devices running smoothly is just that idea of shutting down at the end of the day and starting up fresh the next morning. All of the updates that might need to occur are happening when you do that. The computers themselves just simply need a break sometimes. And honestly, just from a philosophical standpoint, there's something very therapeutic about at the end of your workday, just shutting the computer down, not just closing the lid. Let's actually do the process of letting it shut down and turn itself off. That can the old joke in IT about, hey, did you turn it off and back on again? As silly as it is, and it might seem like a cop out sometimes, it definitely is one of the best things you can do for not only for the computer's sanity, but also honestly sometimes just for even for us alone, just the sanity of shutting something down and completely and just letting it start afresh again the next day. So remember to do that. The other things that I wanted to talk about today, there's a bunch of new Meet updates that are happening. Some of them have trickled out the last couple weeks that you might have seen and started to play around with, and so we'll have a little bit of a demo for that as well. And then the last bit that we'll share with you today is that there's a feature in Google Forms. A lot of us are using that as a great assessment tool for getting some quick info out, but there's a great option in there for reusing questions that you might have used again and again. So I'll show a quick demo of that. And then we also launched our newsletter archive, so I will show you that as well. Stay tuned for all of these as we watch the rest of this video. And after we're all wrapped up, I'll meet you again and we'll give a conclusion. Alrighty, let's take a look at some of these new features together. Some of them have been there for a couple weeks, and so you might have already explored them, but just so we're all on the same page with what's possible now, let's check them out together here. So I'm going to go ahead and present my, my screen for us here so we can see all the features live in the Meet. And so the first thing I'd keep an eye on, if you haven't seen it yet, is Google added from our triple dots in the corner a troubleshooting and help category here. And what this is great for is for quickly identifying issues that may have come up in a Meet. As we know, they're not perfect. They're never going to be 100% of the time available to us, but any user can quickly go to this troubleshooting step here and identify what is the problem right now. They give us a network stability option, which says, okay, how are things going with your Wi-Fi connection or your internet connection? And it gives them some helpful tips in terms of what you can do to help if this is maxed out. The other thing that it gives us is the system load, which is how is your device doing in terms of can it handle the Meet? Again, with some percentage graphs in here as well, and some tips for maybe closing some tabs or closing other apps that may be running. And so if you are having trouble with a Meet, this is one of the first things you can kind of check out to see, oh, is it your fault, quote unquote, in terms of your device and maybe some of the things that you have open that are causing a problem? Or is it just internet stuff that we, as you know, can't always control? So just from the triple dots, look for troubleshooting and help. The next thing here is just identifying the host controls. A lot of these extra features that Google has kind of given us and sent our way are for whoever the host of the meeting is. And one of the things, if you haven't identified it yet, is this blue shield down in the bottom left. If you see that blue shield, that means you are the host, which means you have full control over the Meet itself. And if you click on that shield, you get some of these quick security features in terms of disabling the quick access, preventing folks from sharing their screen or sending chat messages. And if you click the view all host settings, it does give you some more details in terms of what does that mean. So look for that blue shield so that you can quickly turn off or disable those things there. But that also plays in with those interactive features that we're going to take a look at in a second as well. One of the things we've seen, though, is because there are multiple staff members that could be part of a meet, sometimes the blue shield doesn't show up for the person who is actually the owner or who is in control of that meet. Maybe the primary classroom teacher, some support staff, that shield could toggle back and forth. So a couple quick tips for that. Number one is from your classroom stream here, we've recommended to incorporate this Meet link. And the top is the main way to get this set up for your students, because that gives you all these nice controls that Google has for us now. But sometimes if you're not the host when you go in, it's simply because you weren't the first staff member to join the meeting after that link was created. And so one of the things you can do is go to your settings gear for that class and scroll down to the Meet link that's here now, and you can actually just reset that. It regenerates the link for that class, and then if you hit that reset button right here, and then go right back into this Meet link and click it, you'll be the first one in. You'll kind of take ownership of that meeting. And then always best practice, just keep in mind that we recommend to be the first one in a meet so your students can actually join, and then just make sure you're the last staff member is the last person to leave, and so that meeting can end as well. That's definitely a good practice. Make sure students aren't joining meets on their own. Alrighty, let's take a look at some of those activity settings, because these are all, again, for whoever the host is with that blue shield. Look in the top right here, and you have the activity icon, a little triangle, square, and a circle. And as you click on that, you get the 3 different activities that they have for us here. With breakout rooms, with polls, and with Q&A. I don't need to go real in depth with these here. Obviously, I don't have multiple people in this meet, so it wouldn't quite work anyway. But they're very straightforward to use. Breakout rooms, you just choose your number of rooms and either hit the shuffle button or drag your people in to bring people to their rooms and let them kind of do their thing from there. Then you also have polls and Q&A, same idea, where when you visit that, it's pretty straightforward. What you see is what you get. You can hit the start and just fill out what you might want people to either vote on, or in the case of a Q&A, you'll get that. And the host of that meeting will get a summary report for both of those things at the very end. The other thing I'd want to kind of show just real quick here is that the Google has introduced a little bit more controls for the background management just recently. So from the triple dots, we have the option to change our background. And they give you a couple quick ways of doing that. They just added a bunch of these default picture backgrounds that you can pick from, in addition to some blur control that you might not have seen before or had a chance to play around with. And so what you have the ability to do is you can hit that little maximum blur button, and you'll notice it kind of kills a bunch of the screen behind you. So if there are distractions that you want to try to avoid, you can do that. They also have a little bit of lighter touch to it. And then the ability to do some these picture backgrounds as well. Some of them are certainly unique, so tread at your own risk for some of these, but they're just an option that is available to you. The rumor is that they're gonna incorporate the ability for us to add our own pictures to it at some point as well, so stay on the lookout for that. Keep in mind, though, this is one of those things that does add to the complexity of a meet, and so if you're having trouble with connectivity or some of the quality, then just turn that off and just kind of let it do its thing from there. And so those are all the main things I wanted to share, just Google Meet related. Keep an eye out on our newsletters and in any other updates, and we'll keep letting you guys know of the available new features as Google brings them out for us as well. Alrighty, so let's check out this idea of using old questions that you might have had before in Google Forms, so you don't have to type them in every time. So on any Google form that you have started here, you have that plus button, of course, to add a question manually, but you have this button right underneath it that allows you to import questions as well. And so as you click on that, it does an automatic search of all the Google forms that are in your drive. And so no matter what you might have access to or what you might have used before, you can come in here pick your particular form, and then it loads all of the different questions of that form. And you can either select all of them or just select a couple of ones that you want to use and import them right in. Super easy way to reuse questions again and again. Even if it's just the format of something, like if you spend a little time making one of those grid questions really nice, or the multiple choice drop down lists. Even if you just want that format to come in automatically and then change the name of the question, that can be a great use for this import forms question. Many of you have used our iSchool website as a way to book appointments to hang out with us either remotely or in person, and then also check out our iSchool training philosophy as we guide through the different phases of our approach to learning all of this stuff here. One of the things we just added recently is right at the top of the page where we had a link to our YouTube channel. We also have our newsletter archive that we just launched as well. So we do these videos on a monthly basis and send out newsletters with other bits of info. And we figured it might be good to just put them all in one place. So if you happen to have missed one at some point or want to go back to see, what was the structure of updates as we went through this, you can visit our newsletter archive. We have them going back a year plus now, with just a quick description of what we covered that month, along with the actual recording of the video and a link so you can actually view the whole newsletter in context. And so if you're fishing for an update from technology, this is a great place to check that out. Okay, and that wraps up everything I wanted to talk about today. Remember, turn off your computers sometimes, both for the technical piece and for your own sanity sometimes. Definitely make sure to look at those new Meet features, play around them. You can't break anything if you're just joining a Meet on your own to try things out. Look at our newsletter archive to see how things are going there, and then play around with importing questions as well. And if you can see behind me here, I'm prepping for a workshop that we're doing on our PD day tomorrow, just about how we can use multiple devices while in a Google Meet. I know a lot of us have this nice baseline because we've been using Meets for months now of joining and presenting and doing those kind of things, but we do have some extra available technology this year. And so a lot of you have different options of incorporating that in your classroom as well. So we're going to cover that in a PD workshop tomorrow, which I'm sure we'll record and be able to share out in different ways going forward. So if you have the availability, sign up and we'll see you then. Otherwise, we'll catch you next month or on training and support tickets in the meantime. So take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon.